Good evening, Monrovia Unified community, staff, students, and families. Welcome to the 2021 State of the Schools Address. My name is Catherine Tarosian, and I am proud to serve as the superintendent of the Monrovia Unified School District. I would like to begin by thanking you for taking the time to tune in to this virtual event. After last year's success at our inaugural State of the Schools Address, we'd been looking forward to welcoming you back and sharing both our celebrations and our challenges. Of course, our plans, like most of 2020 events, have changed. Through the uncertainty of these times, we've been both inspired and humbled by the strength of our community. Our goal, through every decision and every action, is to direct our resources to support our students. They deserve our very best. Joining us tonight is Monrovia Board President Rob Hammond, Vice President Brian Wong, Clerk Maritza Travanti, Board Member Celine Lockerbie, Board Member Ed Gillen, Teacher of the Year Daniel Ray, and Student Board Members Antonio Delgado and Ellie Hendry. Tonight's presentation will take you on a journey of the last year as described by the members of our board, highlighting our successes, apprising you of the issues we face, and delineating the actions we have taken to provide our students with the tools they need as they navigate this singular educational experience. Now it is my privilege to introduce Board President Rob Hammond to guide us through the 2021 State of the Schools Address. Thank you.
Good evening, Monrovia Unified School District community. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Rob Hammond, and I am the president of the Monrovia Unified Board of Education. Though our State of the Schools Address looks vastly different than last year's, our commitment to communicating vital information about Monrovia Unified remains unchanged. It is an honor to serve on the board of Monrovia Unified, and I am proud to be here tonight representing an organization made up of a team of dedicated professionals who put student success, health, and safety in the forefront of everything they do. Before we begin tonight, the board would like to remember 38 Monrovians who have passed due to COVID-19. Will you please join me in a moment of silence and reflection for their families and our community? I would like to invite our student board members, Antonio Delgado from Monrovia High School and Ellie Hendry from Canyon Oaks High School, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hi, my name is Antonio Delgado.
Hi, I'm Ellie Hendry.
Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio and Ellie. Joining us today is an individual who truly represents everything Monrovia Unified stands for. Selected as Monrovia Unified School District Teacher of the Year, I welcome Clifton Middle School teacher Daniel Ray.
Good evening. About a decade ago, I made the move from LAUSD to MUSD, specifically Clifton, and it was the greatest professional move I could have ever made on so many different levels. To be able to teach in the community that I live in, that I brought my kids up in, has been just awesome. And so what's kind of funny though is back in the day when I accepted this position, some of my teaching buddies thought I was a little crazy because I would never get a break from my students. And they're right, I don't ever get a break from my students. But that's awesome. I love that part of my job. I see my students all the time. At Vaughn's, down at Jake's Roadhouse, Peach Cafe, in my own neighborhood, walking the streets or up on the mountain when I'm mountain biking. And I love that part of my job because I get to keep tabs on those kids. I get to follow up on what they're doing in their lives. And then hopefully in some small way, I also communicate to them that I'm still in their corner, that I believe in them, that I'm excited about what they're doing. So that leads me to what have I learned the last 10 years in MUSD? And I would say it's more what has been more ingrained into my teaching soul, and that is those relationships that I build with those kids, how important that is, more important than the curriculum in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, you walk into my classroom, you're gonna see all kinds of rigor. High expectations, behaviorally, academically, but those high expectations, they ring a little hollow without the relationship connected with that. And so that's something that I strive to achieve every day, especially when the going gets tough. As all teachers know, daily you have challenges. But I bring it back to, why am I here? I'm here for these kids. I'm here to build these relationships with these kids so they always know they've got me in their corner. So I also want to thank everybody who made this possible, who's been in my corner, who's made this recognition possible. It's a huge honor, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. You're a wonderful example of the world-class education we provide here at Monrovia Unified. This evening, you will hear from each member of the Board of Education as we discuss successes the district had during the 2019-20 school year, our transition to a digital environment even before COVID-19, and distant learning. Our transition to distance education, navigating the unprecedented challenges that came from the pandemic, our finances, and learning continuity attendance plan, and a brief overview of our plans for future instruction. Our vision at Monrovia Unified is to help students become ethical, compassionate individuals who graduate from high school prepared for college and careers. Monrovia Unified administrators, teachers, and staff create an exciting learning environment that enriches our students' lives. To prepare our students for success after graduation, we must have programs in place that help our students gain the knowledge and skills they need. During the 2019-20 school year, Monrovia High School was ranked as a top high school by U.S. News and World Report, which recognized MHS for its student achievement in college and career readiness programs. Throughout the years, MHS has introduced a number of innovative and award-winning instructional programs that emphasize our district's commitment to rigorous, equitable curriculum. Some of these programs include the 4-year Career Pathway Math and Science Academy, which includes courses in biology, chemistry, physics, rocketry, and robotics. The Humanities Academy, which provides students with advanced placement-based academy focused on literature, arts, and history. The Theater Arts Conservatory, which allows students to build acting and performance portfolios, and our career technical education pathways such as sports medicine, automotive technology, digital photography, video production, and digital media. Our early college program at Monrovia High School also helps emphasize our district's commitment to providing students with programs they need to be successful in college and career. The program is a dual enrollment partnership with Citrus College in which students earn high school and college credits simultaneously. During the 2019-20 school year, the early college program was recognized by the California School Boards Association and awarded a Golden Bell. The Golden Bell promotes excellence in education and school board governance by recognizing outstanding programs in school districts. Our early college students have an 89% pass rate for college courses while taken in high school. In total, our students over the course of 3 years have earned 2,602 free college units, saving their families thousands of dollars in the cost of attending college. Recent data has shown that our scholars are also succeeding in our advanced placement courses and career technical pathways. Our high school students have improved their AP exam pass rates by 15% in the last 3 years. This success is earning them college credits at renowned universities around the country. Additionally, our students have the opportunity to participate in 5 CTE pathways in high-demand industry sectors. Though the 2019-20 school year had many successes along the way, as a district and community, we have faced tough challenges, and to this day, we continue to rise above together. 6 years ago, Educational Services began a journey of training our teachers and streamlining our educational technology platform. We created the iCoach program, which stands for Innovation Coach. Each school selected one person to serve as the iCoach, and these teachers were trained systematically. An educational technology specialist was hired as a consultant to train these teachers monthly and to do follow-up classroom observations. The training focused on the use of Google tools, and in the first year, the responsibility of these coaches was to learn and implement integrated lessons in their own classroom. This program has continued and in fact has doubled in size. Each school now has 2 iCoaches and the Monrovia High School has 6. Then the pandemic hit and distant learning became our way to deliver education to our 5,500 students. We had the benefit of the strong foundation with a common platform and teachers specifically trained in educational technology in every school. We were able to close traditional school on a Friday and open distant learning on Tuesday of the next week. Hotspots were ordered and dispersed where families needed Wi-Fi, and computers were distributed to meet the basic needs of families. Realizing that there was yet another digital divide and technology was not available to every child, devices were ordered to make our district a one-to-one district. To talk more about our transition to distant learning this year, the challenges we faced along the way, and the successes we achieved, I'd like to welcome Board Vice President Brian Wong.
Thank you, Board President Hammond, and to you, the community, for joining us here tonight. My name is Brian Wong, and I am the Vice President of the Board of Education. It is an honor to be here tonight to detail the district's transition from classroom learning to distance learning. When we first heard the news about COVID-19, nobody saw the global devastation this virus would bring. On March the 13th, based on the information received from the LA County Department of Public Health and the LA County Office of Education, the board convened a special board meeting. There, we made the decision to dismiss students for 2 weeks beginning March the 16th, leading into our spring break, just to err on the side of caution. Distribution of instructional materials, booklets, Chromebooks, and hotspots began on March the 16th. Fortunately, MUSD has a long-term technology plan in place in which we have been acquiring Chromebooks systematically as we integrate technology into our classrooms. Another part of the technology plan was to dramatically upgrade the internet infrastructure at each school and to start introducing items like Google Classroom to our staff. The pandemic forced the district to go from slow and methodical to all in overnight. As of now, the district has around 3,500 Chromebooks. Additionally, we purchased another 191 higher-end Chromebooks just for our staff to make their transition to distance learning easier. Currently, we have handed out over 100 hotspots, and as of September 1st, we have requested 50 more. One of the unintended consequences of not having students come to school was that families that depend on us for nutritious meals were impacted greatly. So in the first week of student dismissal, our free breakfast and lunch program began. Between March and August, our food services distributed over 291,000 meals. Since the start of school, we've distributed over 59,000 meals. This is due in part to our amazing food servicing staff that showed us commitment to our students and school community, even though giving up their spring break to ensure our students did not go without food during this break. The district's food service department has not missed a single day to serve the community during this pandemic, and we are extremely grateful for their hard work, passion, and dedication. On April the 1st, a 2-week break became an entire semester as we followed the state and local guidance to dismiss all classes. Immediately, the district changed its efforts from bridging a 2-week gap into strengthening our delivery of instruction through distance learning and ensuring the continuity of learning through remote tools, including online learning programs and printed materials. Though we were not able to physically host events, district administrators took it upon themselves to ensure our students still had something to look forward to. This is when our Cruisin' Through Monrovia parade occurred. Our teachers and our administrators drove around the route for our 5 elementary schools, waving hello to students and parents, letting them know that even at a distance, they continue to be our #1 priority. Additionally, thanks to the passion and dedication of Patrick Garcia, director of our performing arts, music students across the district had the opportunity to participate in a virtual 2020 elementary spring concert. Our students continued to practice their instruments and their voices in preparation for our spring concert. To keep our community informed with the constant changes regarding COVID-19 and distance learning, the district also focused on sending out communications, sometimes 4 times a week, to answer questions for our families, teachers, and staff. As an additional form of communication with our community, Board President Hammond joined Ralph Walker and Mary Adams on a weekly YouTube live show called Conversations with Ralph Walker. During this live show, President Hammond delivered updates that pertain to the distance learning, food services, and the status of the graduation ceremonies. Not only did the district increase the communications via social media channels, but the Board of Education also approved the purchase of Parent Square in April. In dealing with this pandemic, we learned that the students away from our campus, their classmates, and teachers, we need an even stronger focus on the social and emotional support and mental health resources. This is why our school counselors developed virtual office hours, giving students and parents the opportunity to make appointments for academic and social emotional support. Our partnership with Care Solace, a mental health support resource center, provided our students and families with 24-hour service for mental health, including access to mental health professionals in our area. As we made our way to the end of the school year, promotion or graduation ceremonies became a topic of concern for the district and our families. After carefully going through all of the COVID-19 guidelines, our district administrators, teachers, and staff developed a plan that would keep our students and families safe. However, much to our surprise, LA County Department of Education did not allow us to move forward with our drive-through graduations. This response was not acceptable to the board, and with the support of the entire community, we advocated for a drive-through graduation. After a week of emails and calls to various county officials, we were granted the approvals needed to hold a drive-through ceremony. Seeing our students walk across the stage and receive their diplomas gave us a bit of normalcy. As we finished the school year, we knew the importance of summer school due to the loss of class time, even though it would have to be held through distance learning as well. Our summer school programs included take-home packets with instructional material and supplies, Google Classroom, and daily Zoom instruction, online small groups, online tutoring, and virtual activities. Though the 2019-20 school year brought chaos to our community, it presented us with opportunities to develop and improve the use of technology, albeit faster than we had planned. Distance learning is the best solution for a very difficult problem. We are working hard to minimize the biggest issues of distance learning, which are student engagement, supervision of children, and providing enough support to our teachers. We are exploring concepts such as learning pods and in-person services for those students who are most vulnerable. But the state has created substantial financial hurdles for us. We are lucky to have a staff that embraces a challenge and is always looking to find ways to best serve our children. I now invite Board Clerk Maritza Travante to give an overview of navigating the pandemic and our COVID-19 mitigation plan.
Thank you, Vice President Wong, and hello to everyone joining us tonight. While it has been a difficult journey for us all, I want to share with you the steps we have taken to navigate the pandemic and ensure our schools are prepared for whatever comes next. The decisions we make regarding the health and safety of our students and distance learning, we do not make alone. We receive guidance from Governor Gavin Newsom and the California Department of Public Health, and more locally, the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health and Los Angeles County Office of Education, which are more acutely aware of our local conditions. This board made the difficult decision to begin the school year via distance learning on July 14, days before it was mandated by the state. We knew there were going to be many questions and concerns from the school community regarding the new school year, and this is why, in the spirit of complete transparency, we decided to host weekly school board meetings. This gave our school community the opportunity to address the board while also receiving weekly distance learning updates from our superintendent. The district also shared via Parent Square our Back to School Roadmap, an online booklet that described our COVID-19 planning process, instructional frameworks, and technology and food services updates. While having established a strong distance learning plan, we also knew how equally important childcare would be for parents and guardians who would have to return to work during the new school year. After conducting extensive research that would allow us to better meet the needs of our working families, we learned about the possibility of learning pods. Learning pods allow students to receive daily instruction from their regular classroom teachers via their learning device, plus additional in-person supervision and support from the adult in charge. We are working through the details and hope to have pods operating to meet the needs of elementary middle school students during regular school hours, Monday through Friday. In order to protect the health and safety of our students, families and staff, those coordinating the pods would need to have specific procedures and practices in place. A designated student drop-off and pickup zone. Health screenings and temperature checks completed each morning prior to students and staff entering campus. Face covering requirements for all staff and students, as well as parents and guardians dropping off and picking up their students. Directional signage and hand washing stations. Hand sanitizer made available to students and staff, prepackaged meals delivered to each classroom for breakfast and lunch. Students assigned their own electronic devices and school supplies. And lastly, all learning pod classrooms must be deep cleaned and disinfected every night. Restrooms and high-touch areas must be cleaned and disinfected frequently throughout the day, as well as each night. However, we continue to focus on preparing for our return to school and have established a COVID-19 mitigation plan. This plan will assist the district in preparing our school sites for our transition back to school when given the green light from the state and local level. As part of the plan, we must complete several tasks. Our first task is ensuring that our schools have followed the LA County Department of Public Health's protocols for reopening schools. This includes completing the reopening protocols checklist, implementing the district's COVID-19 exposure management plan, and sharing communications with our families and staff regarding our safety plan. Our second task is ensuring signage is posted around our school sites, and signage must explain symptoms of COVID-19 at entry and exit points, student and staff wellness check procedures, and mask mandate and social distancing protocols. Task number 3 requires all school sites to have access to personal protection equipment, PPE, including gloves and hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizing stations must be available at main offices, entrances, and exits. To date, the district has purchased touchless water filling stations, touchless hand sanitizing dispensers, gloves, and portable hand washing stations. Task number 4 is to conduct wellness checks for all students and staff entering facilities. Wellness checks procedures are made available to families and staff in Parent Square and posted to our school websites. They must be completed prior to entering school facilities. The 5th task has to do with classroom setup. Desks must be arranged 6 feet between students, who will be assigned a singular desk and seat. Students will remain in the same group for the duration of the class. Under the 6th task, the district must implement hand washing procedures for staff and students. Task 7 through 9 outlines the district's cleaning procedures. The district will need to implement a cleaning system that focuses on disinfecting high-touch areas prior to and after each student and adult use. Student desks and teacher desks will be cleaned and disinfected as well. Restrooms will be cleaned on an hourly basis. Lastly, Task 10 calls for the district to store all chemicals, cleaning, and disinfectant supplies properly. Additionally, the district has been working diligently on establishing specialized cohorts for our special education and English learners. We know that slowly matriculating back into routine that allows our students to be on campus is necessary, and when it is safe to do so, we will. Now, we may not be able to bring all of our students into classrooms just yet, but we know that many of our student athletes are missing their sport at this time. Thankfully, with the guidance given to us by the Los Angeles County Office of Education, we were able to establish a way to get youth sports back up and running. Our athletes are required to maintain physical distance of 6 feet between each other and between coaches at all times. 8 feet of distance during times of heavy physical exertion is also required. All players and coaches are required to wear an appropriate face covering that covers the nose and mouth at all times, except while swimming, eating, drinking, showering, or engaging in solo physical exertion, such as jogging alone. Our planning for this academic year has centered on the health and safety of our students, And as we move forward with navigating the pandemic and distance learning, we will continue to make decisions with that same focus. I would like to thank you all for your support during these trying times. Now, to give us an overview of our learning continuity attendance plan and new instructional initiatives for this school year, I welcome board member Celine Lockerbie. Thank you.
Thank you, Maritza, and hello, Monrovia school community. What I'm going to be talking about tonight is the LCAP. Many of you in the school community may have heard this term before, and you wouldn't be alone if you weren't entirely sure what that was. Before COVID, what LCAP stood for was the Local Control and Accountability Plan. The state gave the school districts money to focus specifically on closing the achievement gap for underperforming student groups, and in exchange, the districts provided the state with their plan on how to accomplish that. Here in Monrovia Unified School District, we formed a committee comprised of teachers, staff, community members, students, and parents to help create and implement that plan. Since the onset of COVID, the state has directed districts to create an additional plan to address all student learning loss due to the pandemic and the need to move to a distance learning platform. Just to continue to make the use of acronyms frustrating and confusing, the state decided to name this additional plan LCAP. But this time it stands for Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan. Both the federal government and the state recognize the impact of learning loss on all students due to COVID and have distributed to Monrovia $4.2 million to mitigate the learning loss. This is called the Learning Loss Mitigation Fund. So, how are we spending $4.2 million? How are we mitigating learning loss? In several innovative ways that I will tell you about. We have provided instructional materials and support like Pear Deck, Nearpod, and Edpuzzle, which create more interactive presentations in distance learning. Purchase supplemental programs like Gizmos, Reflex Math, and iStation, and purchased Zoom licenses for every teacher in the district. We have distributed Chromebooks and internet access to every student in the district who needed it. Teachers have been offered training in Google Classroom, Nearpod, Parent Square, and Zoom, and have been given 10 extra paid hours of prep. iCoaches are providing support and training to teachers and parents in English and in Spanish. Our food service department has been amazing. They provided food to all of our students through spring break last year, even though they were supposed to be on vacation, and have been serving students from 1 to 18 years old almost without interruption. I want to stop and give special recognition and thanks to our food service workers because they really stepped up for our students during this unprecedented crisis. Social emotional learning is vital for our students who are learning to manage their emotions stirred by this overwhelming pandemic and stirred by life in general. They need to learn the skills necessary to successfully interact with their peers, teachers, and principals. Never has there been a more critical time than now to place such a district-wide focus on our students' social and emotional well-being. To address this, we have implemented numerous programs and seminars to support children in becoming caring, capable, and confident problem solvers and develop conflict resolution skills, not just in childhood, but also adolescence and into adulthood. COVID-19 has left many hardships and battles along the way, and as a board, we have made some of the most difficult decisions ever. We will continue to dedicate these one-time funds to mitigating the loss of learning and to promote the achievement of all of our students. To walk you through our future plans, including how we will return back into school using a hybrid model, I'd like to welcome Board Member Ed Gilliland.
Thank you, Ms. Lockerbie, and good evening, Monrovia. We appreciate so much that you're a part of the 2021 State of the Schools Address. First, I want to thank you all for your support during these trying times. In true Monrovia fashion, this community has stepped up to collaborate with us in a manner that is a big reason for our student success. We board members truly appreciate your support. Moving forward, this collaboration with our families, teachers, and staff will continue to be vital. Streamlined communication as well as feedback will be necessary to establish ongoing plans that will provide flexibility, grace, and opportunity for all of our students. During the summer months, we assembled subcommittees to assist in developing frameworks for the 2021 school year. These committees established daily instructional schedules that included our current distance learning plan as well as a hybrid model. They drafted plans for instruction, established screening and communication protocol for staff and students. They established cleaning and disinfecting schedules for a distance learning and hybrid models. And they refined our dual immersion, special education, and English learner support systems. Though there is much uncertainty right now that relates to our safe return to school, we know that before we get back to a traditional schedule, we will need to implement a hybrid model to transition to having students back in the classroom. The hybrid model requires that half our students attend in person 2 days a week, and at-home digital learning will be provided the other 3 days each week. A hybrid model would have 40 to 50% of the students in school at any given time, and the remainder of their instruction would be done through distance learning. To ensure continued health and safety, the district will have in place a designated COVID-19 compliance team that is responsible for establishing and enforcing all COVID-19 safety protocols. Our schools will also implement all applicable measures and have a containment, response, and control plan that will describe our district's approach to preventing and containing the spread of COVID-19 on school campuses as long as the threat remains. While we are continuing to plan for a hybrid model, we're committed to improving our distance learning experience to ensure it is rigorous and engaging for our students. Our plan this school year does not mirror what happened during the crisis distance learning last spring, when sudden school closure forced an immediate shift to distance learning. This school year, our students are held accountable through daily attendance and grades and have more structure in terms of their daily schedule. Through our distance learning platform, we have also developed our special education portal, which offers our students and families many avenues of support. The overarching goal of our special education department is to maintain the safety of our students and staff while providing the individualized services delineated in the education plans of each of our students. To ensure equity and access across the district, we made it our priority to ensure every student enrolled in Monrovia Unified received a Chromebook and a hotspot if needed. To ensure our policies support all students, and with their academic and personal growth in mind, the district created a policy review committee. This committee is comprised of community members who extensively review policy and make recommendations to the board. Our board policies guide all the decisions within the district, so as a board and district, we have to make sure these policies are created with those principles in mind. To expand on equity and access across the district, the board also advocated for the inclusion of an ethnic studies course as a high school requirement to be added in the state of California. This legislation passed. We will also be incorporating anti-bias training this school year for students and staff to continue expanding their knowledge. Finally, I would like to touch on the instructional development we have built upon in the last year for in-classroom and distance learning. Monrovia Unified received the Career Technical Incentive Grant, K-12 Strong Workforce Program Grant, and the Carl Perkins Grant to help prepare our students for high-demand, high-wage industry professions. At Monrovia High School, we have added new career pathways in information technology and patient care, added a student internship program with local businesses, and now offer industry-recognized certifications that give our students a competitive edge in the labor market. Monrovia Unified School District has taken its proactive tutoring program to new heights with the development of virtual tutoring. The virtual tutoring pilot was conducted this summer and began in October. Monrovia Unified is also implementing social-emotional learning curriculum in all classrooms to address students' well-being and to give them the tools they need to develop self-awareness, manage their emotions, build positive relationships with their peers and teachers, and make responsible decisions. All sites are being trained in suicide prevention with the protocols necessary to assist students in potential crisis. Moving forward, we're piloting new curriculum for adoption in elementary school history and science, along with middle school and high school science, in order to have curriculum to meet the needs of 2020 and the rigorous standards. The district is also developing its very own TK through 8th grade coding programs so that our students can continue to learn those valuable computer programming skills. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I wish we could be together in person for this year's State of the Schools, but since we aren't, we hope that we've been able to provide you with helpful information about what's happening in your schools using this format. We remain hopeful we will be able to open up our school sites to students again very soon. Until then, please continue to stay safe and look after one another. To close out this event, I welcome back Board President Rob Hammond.
Thank you, Brian, Maritza, Celine, and Ed. Our promise to you as your Board of Education is to be as transparent as possible. Through these unprecedented times, the effect that the pandemic has had on our children seems to be overlooked, but not at Monrovia Unified. We know our students have struggled being away from their normal routines. We know they miss their friends, their teachers, their school, their sports, and because of that, we will continue to work diligently to ensure a smooth return as soon as it is safe. Whether there is a pandemic, a wildfire in our backyard, or we are advocating for our graduation ceremonies, our commitment to our community is no matter what circumstances arise, Monrovia Unified School District will meet the challenges and support our students, families, and staff. I, along with the rest of the Board of Education, our district administrators, teachers, and staff, wish for your continued health and safety. We thank you all for joining us tonight and being a part of the 2021 State of the Schools Address. We look forward to being together next year. Thank you, and have a good night.